Setting the stage, the life of a Stoic sage. Epictetus, once a slave, later rose as one of the towering figures in Stoic philosophy, his teachings shaping minds and spirits across centuries. His journey is not merely a historical account, but a profound narrative of human resilience and the power of philosophy. In the bustling markets of ancient Rome, where power and poverty collided, Epictetus's voice emerged, distinct with wisdom born from hardship. His life, an embodiment of the very principles he preached, serves as a testament to the transformative potential of Stoicism. Born into slavery, Epictetus's early life was marked by limitations and suffering. However, these very constraints became the crucible in which his formidable intellect and spirit were forged. Understanding his origin is crucial, as it shapes our comprehension of his teachings and their development. His philosophy wasn't theoretical, but a practical guide, honed in the harsh realities of his life. It's a journey from the depths of human subjugation to the heights of intellectual freedom, a theme that resonates deeply in the human struggle for meaning and dignity. The relevance of Epictetus today speaks to the enduring power of his insights. In a world still fraught with existential challenges and personal suffering, his messages offer a compass for navigating life's tumultuous seas. Stoicism, as he articulated it, teaches the art of separating what we can control from what we cannot, shaping a life of inner peace amidst outer chaos. This ancient wisdom, passed through the corridors of time, finds its echo in modern self-help philosophies and therapeutic practices, highlighting its timeless utility. From chains to wisdom, the metamorphosis of Epictetus. The transformation of Epictetus from a slave to a sage is a narrative of extraordinary metamorphosis, underscored by his indomitable will and the Stoic principles he lived by. His life was a battleground where he turned each obstacle into a stepping stone for philosophical inquiry and self-realization. This dramatic shift was not an accident, but a deliberate pursuit of wisdom through the Stoic discipline of controlling one's responses to external circumstances. His teachings, therefore, were not abstract doctrines, but practical strategies for enduring and overcoming life's adversities. Epictetus's philosophy was rooted in the principle that external events cannot be controlled, but one can control their responses to them. This idea was not only revolutionary, but deeply empowering, particularly in the context of his own life as a slave. His mastery over his reactions and emotions under such oppressive conditions illustrates the profound agency and freedom one can achieve through Stoicism. This personal mastery is what elevated him from the status of a slave to that of a revered philosopher and teacher. His influence extended beyond his immediate circle of students in the Stoic school he later led. The Roman elite and even future emperors were drawn to his lectures, seeking the serenity and clarity his teachings promised. This wide-ranging impact underscores the universal appeal of his philosophy, capable of transcending social and economic divides. His life's work culminated in the Enchiridion and the Discourses, texts that continue to be pivotal in the study of Stoicism. The legacy of Epictetus is particularly relevant in today's fast-paced, high-pressure environments. His teachings offer a blueprint for maintaining calm and perspective in the face of life's inevitable pressures and disruptions. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, his call to focus on our internal lives rather than external circumstances provides a powerful framework for achieving personal peace and resilience. A brutal beginning, the seed of Stoicism is sown. Born in Hierapolis, Phrygia, around 55 AD, Epictetus entered the world a slave. His birthplace, a bustling crossroads of cultures and commerce, offered little comfort to a child born into servitude. His early life remained shrouded in obscurity, the details lost to the passage of time. Yet this lack of information only amplifies the remarkable trajectory of his life, a testament to the power of the human spirit to transcend even the most challenging beginnings. His given name at birth remains unknown. Epictetus, meaning acquired or possessed, was the label bestowed upon him, a stark reminder of his status in the Roman world. He was likely sold as a child, his fate intertwined with the whims of those who held his life in their hands. Imagine young Epictetus forced to navigate a world where his own desires and dreams were subservient to the will of his master. Despite the harsh realities of his existence, a spark of resilience ignited within him. This inner strength, nurtured in the crucible of adversity, would later define his philosophy and inspire generations. His early experiences, rather than breaking him, fostered within him an indomitable spirit, a resolute determination to find meaning and purpose amidst the chaos of his existence. This period of his life, though marked by hardship, played a pivotal role in shaping his worldview. It was within the confines of slavery that he first encountered the principles of Stoicism, a philosophy that would become his guiding light. The Stoic emphasis on virtue, reason, and acceptance resonated deeply with his own experience, offering him a framework for navigating the challenges of his existence and ultimately transcending them. Epictetus, the cruel hand of fate. Fate, in its capricious way, led Epictetus to Rome, the heart of an empire built on conquest and slavery. He found himself under the ownership of Epictetus, a powerful and notoriously cruel freedman who had risen to a position of influence in the imperial court. This twist of fate, though seemingly unfortunate, would have a profound impact on the young slave's life, setting the stage for his future transformation. Epictetus, a man of wealth and power, embodied the excesses and brutality of Roman society. His household, though luxurious, would have been a constant reminder to Epictetus of his own powerless position. Yet, amidst the opulence and cruelty, an opportunity for intellectual growth presented itself. It was during this time that Epictetus crossed paths with Musonius Rufus, a Stoic philosopher, who would become his mentor and guide. Recognizing the young slave's sharp intellect and thirst for knowledge, Musonius Rufus took him under his wing. He provided Epictetus with access to his teachings, allowing him to attend his lectures, even though it was highly unusual for a slave to receive such an education. These clandestine lessons, conducted under the watchful eyes of Epictetus, ignited within Epictetus a passion for philosophy that would shape the course of his life. As Epictetus delved deeper into the tenets of Stoicism, he found solace and strength in its teachings. The Stoic emphasis on virtue, self-control, and acceptance resonated deeply with his own experiences, offering him a framework for understanding and navigating the challenges of his existence. His time with Musonius Rufus, though conducted in secrecy and under the constant threat of discovery, provided him with the intellectual and spiritual foundation upon which he would build his own philosophical legacy. Musonius Rufus, a towering figure in Stoic philosophy, embodied the principles he espoused. Known for his simple lifestyle and unwavering commitment to virtue, he was a beacon of wisdom and integrity in an era marked by moral decay. His teachings, deeply rooted in the Stoic tradition, emphasized the importance of living in accordance with nature, recognizing our common humanity and embracing virtue as the sole good. Rufus's influence on Epictetus was profound. He taught him that true freedom lay not in external circumstances but in the mastery of one's thoughts and emotions. He instilled in his young student the importance of focusing on what is within our control, our judgments, our desires, our aversions, and accepting with equanimity what is not. These lessons, absorbed in the crucible of slavery, would shape the core of Epictetus's own philosophical system. Under Musonius Rufus's guidance, Epictetus began to see his circumstances not as an impediment to his happiness, but as an opportunity for growth. He learned to apply the principles of Stoicism to his daily life, enduring hardship with resilience and facing adversity with courage. His time as a slave, once a source of immense suffering, became a training ground for developing his character and cultivating inner strength. The relationship between Epictetus and Musonius Rufus transcended the traditional boundaries between master and student. It was a bond forged in mutual respect, a shared passion for wisdom, and a deep understanding of the human condition. Rufus recognized in Epictetus a rare intellect and an indomitable spirit, while Epictetus found in his teacher a mentor who illuminated the path to true freedom and fulfillment. How Epictetus gained his freedom remains shrouded in mystery. Some accounts suggest that Epictetus, recognizing his slave's growing intellect, granted him his freedom. Others propose that Epictetus purchased his freedom, perhaps with the help of his admirers within Roman society. Regardless of the circumstances, his emancipation marked a pivotal turning point in his life, allowing him to fully embrace his calling as a philosopher and teacher. Freed from the shackles of slavery, Epictetus dedicated himself to the study and dissemination of Stoic philosophy. He established his own school in Nicopolis, a city in western Greece known for its intellectual climate. There he attracted a diverse following of students eager to learn from the former slave who had attained wisdom and inner peace through the most challenging of circumstances. His teachings, though rooted in the Stoic tradition, bore the distinct mark of his own experiences. He spoke with the authority of someone who had not just studied philosophy but had lived it, tested it in the fires of adversity, and emerged stronger. His lectures were not dry academic exercises but passionate exhortations to live a virtuous life, to find freedom within, and to face the challenges of existence with courage and equanimity. Epictetus's fame spread throughout the Roman Empire, drawing students from all walks of life. He taught that true happiness lay not in the pursuit of external goods, but in the cultivation of virtue and the acceptance of fate. His teachings offered a path to inner peace and fulfillment, a message that resonated deeply in a world often characterized by uncertainty and turmoil. Epictetus believed our perceptions are the gateway to freedom or suffering. He taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments and interpretations of them. Imagine being caught in a rainstorm. You can choose to curse the heavens and be miserable, or you can accept it as a natural phenomenon and find peace within. It is this shift in perception, this mental fortitude, that Epictetus championed. He argued that we enslave ourselves by clinging to desires for things outside our control. We crave wealth, status, or the approval of others, setting ourselves up for disappointment. True freedom, he argued, comes from mastering our inner world, from aligning our desires with what is naturally within our control, our thoughts, our judgments, and our actions. Consider this. Two individuals face the same challenging situation. One succumbs to anger, frustration, and despair, while the other remains calm, composed, and even finds opportunity amidst the difficulty. The difference lies in their perception. Epictetus urges us to adopt the latter approach, to train our minds to see challenges as opportunities for growth, to find tranquility amidst the storm. By mastering our perceptions, we take control of our emotional responses. We cease to be victims of circumstance, tossed and turned by the whims of fate. Instead, we become active agents in our own lives, choosing how we perceive, interpret, and ultimately respond to the world around us. This, according to Epictetus, is the essence of true freedom. The dichotomy of control, accepting the uncontrollable. Central to Epictetus's philosophy is the dichotomy of control. He divided all things into two categories, those within our control and those outside it. Our health, wealth, reputation, these are largely determined by external factors. We can influence them, but ultimately we don't have absolute control over them. What we do control, Epictetus emphasized, are our thoughts, our judgments, our desires, and our actions. This understanding is not about passive resignation, but about channeling our energies effectively. Worrying about things beyond our control is futile and draining. Instead, Epictetus encourages us to focus on what we can influence, our own responses, our own actions, and our own character. By doing so, we not only conserve energy, but also position ourselves to navigate challenges more effectively. Imagine a farmer who worries incessantly about the weather. He can't control the rain or the sun, yet he allows these anxieties to consume him. Epictetus would advise the farmer to focus on what he can control: the quality of his tools, the timing of his planting, the efficiency of his irrigation. By focusing on these internal factors, the farmer maximizes his chances of a successful harvest, regardless of external circumstances. This principle has profound implications for how we approach life's challenges. By accepting what we cannot control and focusing our energies on what we can, we cultivate a deep sense of inner peace and resilience. We develop the ability to weather any storm, to find opportunity amidst adversity, and to live a life of true freedom and purpose. Living in accordance with nature, our shared humanity. Epictetus believed that we are all part of a larger cosmic order, governed by a rational and benevolent force he referred to as nature. Living in accordance with nature, for Epictetus, meant recognizing our place within this grand scheme, accepting its inherent order, and aligning our lives with its principles. This involved understanding our shared humanity, recognizing the interconnectedness of all things, and acting with reason and virtue. He emphasized that we are all fragments of the divine, sparks of the same cosmic fire. This shared divinity, he argued, should guide our interactions with others, fostering compassion, empathy, and a sense of universal brotherhood. Just as the sun shines equally on the righteous and the wicked, so too should our love and compassion extend to all beings, regardless of their station or circumstance. Consider, for example, our tendency to judge others harshly, to elevate ourselves based on social standing or material possessions. Epictetus would remind us that such distinctions are ultimately superficial. True worth, he argued, lies in our character, in our actions, and in our commitment to living a virtuous life. When we recognize our shared humanity, we transcend the artificial barriers of social conditioning, embracing a more compassionate and equitable way of being. Living in accordance with nature also requires accepting the impermanence of all things. Just as the seasons change, so too does life ebb and flow. Embracing this natural cycle of birth, growth, decay and death allows us to approach life's inevitable challenges with greater equanimity. We learn to appreciate the present moment, to find joy in the simple things, and to face the future with courage and acceptance. Virtue, the sole path to true happiness. Epictetus, in line with Stoic tradition, held that virtue was the sole good, the only true path to lasting happiness. He identified 4 cardinal virtues as essential for a flourishing life: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These virtues weren't mere abstract ideals, but active principles to be cultivated and practiced daily. Wisdom for Epictetus involved understanding the nature of reality, distinguishing between what is truly good and what is merely perceived as such. Justice entailed treating others with fairness and respect, recognizing their inherent dignity as fellow human beings. Courage didn't necessarily mean facing lions in the Colosseum, but rather confronting our fears and anxieties with fortitude and resilience. Temperance, finally, involved moderation in all things, mastering our desires and avoiding excesses that could lead us astray. Imagine a charioteer struggling to control his horses. The horses, representing our passions and desires, pull him in different directions. Virtue in this analogy acts as the reins, providing guidance and control. By cultivating the cardinal virtues, we gain mastery over our impulses, steering our lives towards fulfillment and happiness. Epictetus believed that virtue was its own reward. The pursuit of external validation or material wealth was a distraction, a path leading to anxiety and dissatisfaction. True contentment, he argued, arose from living a virtuous life, from aligning our actions with our principles, and from striving to embody the best versions of ourselves. This, he believed, was the ultimate goal of human existence and the key to unlocking true and lasting happiness. Epictetus, despite his physical limitations, never allowed hardship to define him. One striking example of his resilience involves his time as a slave under Epaphroditus. Legend has it that Epaphroditus, in a fit of cruelty, twisted Epictetus's leg, leaving him lame for life. Rather than succumbing to despair, Epictetus is said to have remarked calmly, "I see that you have broken my leg. If you continue, you will break my other leg. After that, there is nothing left for you to break except my spirit, which is beyond your reach." This anecdote, whether entirely factual or embellished over time, speaks volumes about Epictetus's indomitable spirit. He refused to be defined by his physical limitations, choosing instead to focus on what he could control: his attitude, his thoughts, and his commitment to living a virtuous life. He viewed his disability not as a curse, but as an opportunity to cultivate inner strength and resilience. Epictetus often used the analogy of a potter to illustrate his point. A skilled potter, he argued, could create a beautiful and functional vessel even from a flawed piece of clay. Similarly, he believed that we too could craft meaningful lives even in the face of adversity. Our limitations, like the imperfections in the clay, could become sources of strength and inspiration, shaping us into individuals of greater depth and character. This anecdote serves as a powerful reminder that our circumstances do not define us. We have the power to choose how we respond to adversity, to find meaning and purpose even amidst suffering. Epictetus's example encourages us to embrace our own challenges, to view them as opportunities for growth, and to never surrender our power to choose our own attitude in response. Epictetus often used vivid stories to illustrate his philosophical points. One such story involves a runaway slave who, desperate to escape his master, steals a horse and flees the city. As he rides through the countryside, he congratulates himself on his cleverness and newfound freedom. He imagines a life of ease and pleasure, far from the hardships of servitude. However, Epictetus points out, the slave's sense of freedom is entirely illusory. He is still bound by his desires, his fears, and his attachments. He lives in constant fear of being caught, his every thought consumed by the need to evade capture. True freedom, Epictetus argues, lies not in escaping external constraints, but in liberating ourselves from the internal chains that bind us. The runaway slave, despite his physical escape, remains enslaved by his own mind. He is a prisoner of his own making, his thoughts and actions dictated by fear and anxiety. Epictetus would argue that true freedom comes from accepting our circumstances, whatever they may be, and focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, our judgments, and our responses. This story serves as a powerful reminder that true freedom is an internal state, not an external condition. We may not always be able to control our circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. By cultivating inner peace and detachment, we liberate ourselves from the tyranny of our own desires and fears, achieving a level of freedom that no external force can take away. Death, the ultimate loss of control, was a recurring theme in Epictetus's teachings. He acknowledged the pain of losing loved ones, but cautioned against succumbing to excessive grief. He reminded his students that death, like birth, was a natural part of life, an inevitable event woven into the fabric of existence. To rage against this reality, he argued, was futile and counterproductive. He illustrated this point with a poignant example. Imagine a child playing by the seaside, building castles in the sand. Inevitably, the tide comes in, washing away the child's creations. A wise parent, Epictetus argued, wouldn't weep and wail at the destruction. They would understand that the tide's ebb and flow was a natural part of the ocean's rhythm, just as death was a natural part of the human experience. Epictetus wasn't advocating for emotional detachment or indifference in the face of loss. He recognized the depth of human grief. However, he encouraged his students to grieve with wisdom, to accept death as a natural part of life's cycle, and to find solace in the memories of their loved ones rather than dwelling on their absence. This perspective, though challenging, offers a path through the darkness of grief. By accepting the natural order of things, by recognizing that death is an inevitable part of life, we can find a measure of peace and acceptance even in the face of profound loss. We can honor the memories of those we have loved without allowing grief to consume us entirely. Facing death with equanimity, the final test. Epictetus believed that a true Stoic embraced death not with fear, but with equanimity, recognizing it as the natural culmination of life. He argued that fearing death was akin to fearing a bogeyman, a figment of our imagination that held no real power over us. Death, he reminded his students, was simply a return to the state from which we came, a reintegration with the cosmos. He often compared life to a banquet. We are invited to partake in the feast, to savor each moment, and to appreciate the company of our fellow guests. However, when the time comes for us to leave, we should do so gracefully, without clinging to the table or lamenting the end of the meal. Death, like the conclusion of a banquet, was simply a transition, not an end. Epictetus himself faced his own mortality with courage and composure. Legend has it that as he lay dying, he joked with his students, asking them which of his teachings they would remember most clearly. This anecdote, whether entirely accurate or embellished over time, encapsulates the Stoic ideal of facing death with a calm and untroubled mind. Epictetus's teachings on death offer a profound perspective on life and its meaning. By accepting our mortality, by recognizing that our time on this earth is finite, we gain a greater appreciation for the preciousness of each moment. We learn to live with purpose, to cherish our relationships, and to face the unknown with courage and tranquility. Epictetus's life, marked by formidable challenges and profound wisdom, continues to resonate through the ages. His journey from slavery to revered philosopher epitomizes the Stoic belief in the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity through virtue and reason. This narrative is not merely a historical account, but a timeless echo that continues to inspire those who seek inner peace and resilience in the face of life's vicissitudes. The core of his teachings, centered on the dichotomy of control, emphasizes focusing on our internal states rather than external events. This principle, simple yet revolutionary, provides a foundation for enduring peace and happiness. It is a testament to the idea that while we cannot control the world around us, we can control our reactions to it, thus mastering our own lives. Epictetus's voice, once confined to the lecture halls of ancient Nicopolis, now echoes in countless books, seminars and online forums. His teachings, preserved in the Discourses and the Enchiridion, continue to be a beacon for those navigating the complexities of modern life. His wisdom transcends the boundaries of time and culture, offering guidance to anyone who seeks to live a life of purpose and integrity. In today's fast-paced, technology-driven world, the teachings of Epictetus provide a vital counterbalance to the external pressures and distractions that so often plague us. His advice to focus on what is within our direct control can be particularly empowering in an age where external events and social media often dictate our emotional well-being. Stoicism, as articulated by Epictetus, offers a way to reclaim our mental space and foster resilience. The relevance of his doctrines is particularly evident in the realm of mental health. Techniques derived from Stoic philosophy are employed in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which helps individuals reframe their perceptions of stress and adversity to lead healthier psychological lives. Epictetus's influence is subtly woven into the fabric of modern psychological practices, showcasing the enduring utility of his insights. Moreover, the global challenges of the 21st century, such as climate change, pandemics, and social inequality, make Stoicism increasingly relevant. Epictetus teaches us to differentiate between what we can change and what we must accept, thus enabling us to engage with our world both more effectively and with greater peace of mind. Epictetus's life itself is a profound lesson in resilience. Born into slavery, facing physical disability, and living under the harsh conditions of ancient times, he not only survived but thrived by applying his philosophical insights to every challenge. His legacy teaches us that personal freedom and power come from within, not from our external circumstances. It is a powerful message for anyone who feels trapped by their situation. His approach to life's inevitable difficulties involves viewing them not as impediments, but as opportunities to practice virtue and strengthen character. This perspective is crucial in our times when adversity often leads to despair. Epictetus provides a blueprint for transforming suffering into growth, emphasizing that true happiness comes from how we choose to respond to life's challenges. Furthermore, his teachings on the importance of self-discipline, integrity, and the value of community resonate deeply in a world craving authentic connections and ethical leadership. Epictetus's example encourages us to strive for a higher standard of personal conduct and to contribute positively to our communities. Epictetus's life and teachings can be seen as a metaphor for the human experience. His journey from the depths of slavery to the heights of philosophical enlightenment mirrors our own potential to rise above our circumstances and find meaning in adversity. His teachings challenge us to see life as a series of opportunities for personal development, urging us to live with dignity, purpose, and resilience. The Stoic journey, as exemplified by Epictetus, is not about suppressing emotions or enduring pain silently. Rather, it is about developing the wisdom to know what we can control and the courage to act upon it. This journey is universal, cutting across all ages and cultures, and is as relevant today as it was in ancient times. In conclusion, Epictetus's teachings offer not just philosophical insights, but practical guidance for living well. His life reminds us that no matter our external circumstances, we have the capacity to cultivate inner strength, to choose our path, and to influence our world. His enduring legacy invites us to embrace the Stoic journey, finding freedom and fulfillment in the wisdom of accepting what we cannot change and courageously changing what we can. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, stay strong, stay stoic,